So yesterday we talked about all the different the relationships between angles. A lot of new vocab went on yesterday. So a quick little recap from yesterday. This angle here, all these angles inside the parallel lines, those are all interior angles. All the ones outside, those are all exterior angles. So there are some relationships between the interior ones. For example, this one that's 100. Well, the alternate interior angle is also 100. And then these two angles, the 100 and this one, they form a straight line and they are supplementary, so they have to add up to 180. And then if you look at the top, these two angles here, well, these two angles are opposite one another and they're known as vertical angles. Again, what we spoke about yesterday. If you go back to this one that is 100 degrees, and the other one was the corresponding one. So it's the same exact angle measurement that's also congruent. The last new term that we spoke about yesterday was either same side interior. So they're on the same side. So this one and this one, same side of the transversal. And they're also interior. And those have to add up to 180, kind of like supplementary angles. They're also known as consecutive interior angles. So that's a quick little recap from yesterday. Now we're going to take that information and now we're going to apply it to writing, figuring out some equations. Well, if you look at these two, the only relationship between these two angles are they are on a straight line, and they are supplementary angles. They're adjacent to one another, and they add up to 180 degrees. So we can actually write an equation for these two and add them together and then set them equal to 180 degrees. These two angles on the right, these are actually opposite or vertical angles. And after looking at the notes from yesterday, vertical angles are congruent. That means they're the same. So if we take the 105, put an equal sign between them, and then take the 2x minus 11 and solve the equation, we should get what x equals. So sometimes you're going to be asked what x equals, and sometimes you're going to be asked what the angle measurement is. Well, vertical angles are congruent. So if this one is 105, we know this has to equal 105. And if this is 78, we know this has to equal 102. So let's take a look at the solutions. If you want to pause this and you want to try them yourself, go ahead. But here are the two solutions. So we took the two angles, and we know that they're supplementary, so we just added them together and set it equal to 180, and we went through and we solved, well, y is 20. Y was 20 on this one. Then 20 times 5 is 102, and it works. And these two, all we did was we put an equal sign between them because we know that vertical angles are congruent, and then we solved the equation. So this one you're probably going to be asked for, what does x equal? We have one more example to take you through. We see something like this, but there's no real relationship between those two. If this 5x plus 3 was here, and we know that this angle, that's a corresponding angle, but this one and this one, there's really no relationship. Can we use what we already know? Well, let's see. We have 5x plus 3. We have, these are all interior angles inside. Oops. Isn't this angle and this angle alternate interior? Well, if we did that, then we can say that the 7x plus 9 and the 5x plus 3 add up to 180. Or you can say that the 5x plus 3 and this angle here, those are corresponding angles, and those add up to 180 because these two are adjacent or supplementary angles. So basically, we're just taking what we know and able to figure out angle measurements and everything that we need. So we know that those two angles have to add up to 180. So we took the 7x plus 9 and the 5x plus 3, and we set it equal to 180 because we know that this line right here, this has to add up to 180. We simplified it here, showing out the work. We got x equals 14. Then we took that 14 and we actually plugged it in for x. And we said that 14 times 5 is 70 plus 3 is 73. Well, if you know that this is 73, you know that this is 73. And what about this angle? These two are vertical. This one's 73. And if this is 73, then this one has to be 73 because those two are corresponding angles. So just taking a little piece of information, you can figure out all your angle measurements.